What's up, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls around the world? I would like to welcome you back to the Real Talk with Zuby podcast. Today's episode is being recorded all the way out in Dubai. We are recording this one in person because this is not just any interview. This is a top special interview. It's been highly requested, hotly anticipated. This is actually this guest's second time on the podcast. We recorded way back in January 2019 before either of us were anywhere near as well known as we are now. And without further ado, this is the one and only Top G, Andrew Tate. What's up, bro?
Good to be here, my friend.
Good to see you, man. Good to see you. Dude, it's been a long time not since we last spoke, but since we last spoke publicly in a way that everyone's able to hear us. You were actually the fourth guest on my podcast when I just started it. Wow. So much stuff has happened in the past almost 4 years at this point. Yeah. But first thing, man, how you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. The Matrix is obviously trying to destroy me in real time, but they have failed. So as long as I'm still breathing until they decide to try and do something about that, it's a happy day. All in all, I'm pretty good.
Yeah. What's it been like for you over the past couple of months? I mean, I've been watching this happen in real time, but what's your experience actually been like?
I mean, mentally, it's been fine. However, I've been very aware and as it was happening, I was very aware of how much it would mentally affect the average person, if that makes sense. So although I'm completely fine with what they've tried to do to me, I've been sitting here thinking, if I was a normal dude, I'd be in serious trouble right now. Like, not just financially, not just your economics, but genuinely how you feel. When I was canceled, when they tried their very, very best to lie about me and then delete me from all social medias and continue to lie about me, when you have the entire world trying to say you're something you're not, or convince the populace that you're dangerous when you aren't, or convince the world that you're a bad person when you know you're not, and a lot of people obviously believe it, then you start getting death threats, your family start getting death threats, and there's safety concerns. And I was thinking, if I was a normal dude living a normal life right now, this would be a serious problem. Luckily, I'm not a normal dude, which I put a life together that made me difficult to damage long ago, long before this, because I knew to a degree something like this was going to happen. But yeah, it was certainly an interesting few months when they began the attack.
Yeah. And when you talk about the Matrix attacking you, for people who are not familiar with the terminology or maybe even the story, give us a rundown of actually what's played out.
Sure. Well, I call the world the Matrix very simply. If the people who have seen the movie, they will know that our body heat inside of the movie, the body heat of humans is being harvested and used. And they occupy our minds with a false reality to keep us producing body heat long enough for the machines to function. And I believe that's a perfect analogy of what happens in the world today. I believe that our labors and our intellects and our work is basically being exploited from us and extracted. And to keep our minds occupied, they purport a false reality. Perhaps it's not a computer simulation like the movie, but it's certainly computer controlled. If the social media companies and the media companies can control the information people have access to, and they'll delete an entire side of the argument for anybody who tries to talk against it, then they are creating a false reality. And people are buying into this false reality so that they can stay asleep long enough to continue to be a slave. So I think the Matrix is a perfect example of what's happening in the world today. And anybody who stands up and speaks loudly up against the Matrix, if you do it too loud, too long, sooner or later they see you as a problem. They want you to go away. And there's 3 stages to that. First, they try and delete you everywhere and cancel you like they've done to me. The second stage is put you in jail for no reason. And the third stage is to kill you. So one of my lives have been used up now. So it's kind of scary. You know, you're kind of sitting there going, well, usually at this stage, people go away. But if I don't go away, what comes next? So that's kind of scary. But basically, the media machine, the Matrix, decided that the impact I was having on the populace was not beneficial to them and their goals and their aims, and that whatever I'm teaching people or making people think about isn't necessarily aiding their agenda. I think with people in my position, some of them will sell their soul, or some of them will change their mind and shut up. I'm not that guy. They tried to, I think with a certain degree, they promise you fame and money, or they'll unshadow ban you, or they'll let you be a certain way. They'll let you get bigger and let your ego be satisfied if you'll be quiet. I refused, and then they decided to try and delete me from everywhere. So that's what happened.
Why do you think they're so scared of that message?
They're scared of a message. They're always going to be scared of any message that comes from somebody that people idolize and respect, which is basically telling people to be strong physically and mentally and to resist the slave mind and to think for themselves, because their number one agenda is to create worker drones. They don't want you to think for yourself, which means that to a degree you need to be weak, both mentally and physically. If you're weak, both mentally and physically, one, you're not prepared to defend your ideas, but especially if you're mentally weak, this is such a big point of it. And this is why I get so much flack for saying depression isn't real and all these things. If you're mentally weak and you're concerned in your own mind about even living day-to-day life because you find it such a struggle, there's no way you're going to take on a larger battle than yourself. You're not going to start resisting enslavement. You're not going to start fighting against COVID mandates. You're not going to be doing any of that stuff because you're too busy looking in the mirror, crying your eyes out. You're selfish. You're self-obsessed. Happy people don't do that. Happy people, okay, my life is good. I'm happy. I want my family to be happy. I want my community to be good. I care about my country. That's why they don't want you to be happy. They want you to be miserable, weak, and they want to delete any morality from your brain because it's a baseline morality that prevents them from installing the slave programming. By getting you to a point where you no longer think for yourself, they can just tell you anything is true. That's what they're doing to us right now, Zuby. What they're doing is convincing people to ignore their own eyes. When you walk into the toilet as a woman and you see a big man and you have to pretend that that's not a man, you have to pretend it's not. Because if you acknowledge what your own eyes are telling you, you're the enemy, right? Once they can convince you to ignore your own eyes, well, that's the end of the game, isn't it? Now it doesn't matter if they see the sky is blue because the media said the sky is red. And that's the final level of slave programming they're trying to get us to. They want us to ignore our own eyes, ignore our own ears, ignore our innate morality, because we're all born with an innate morality inside of us. We believe certain things are wrong and right instinctually. They want us to ignore that. Get rid of all of it, empty brains, empty hard disks, and plug in the new program for whatever they think is applicable at the time. And it's going to be tyranny and slavery. What else would they want to program into us?
Remember your teacher who told you Tate was a threat to humanity? Or your colleague who was convinced Tate was a human trafficker because the news told him so? Time to give something back to the middle class. The perfect bottom line to sum up the year. Tate's limited edition mug, designed to prove them all wrong. Exclusively on TopG.com.
I think something that's that I've noticed in this time, and I'd like to get your perspective on this. It's something I've been thinking about is we seem to be living in a time where people are harsher. The court of public opinion is harsher and more judgmental of words and tone than of actions.
Yeah, I agree. Because we're living in a world which has just become soft and it's all about feelings, right? It's absolutely and utterly crazy because this is what happens when you have a society that's devoid and detracted from reality. The fact that I was considered the number one threat to society for some reason, and I had to be punished for that. Not the pedophiles, not the rapists, not the murderers, not the kidnappers. No, me. Not the drugs cartels. No. The man who says that women can't park cars. He is the number one public enemy, right? And it's because we've lived in a world where people are detached from reality. If you live in if you're realistic, then you're not going to give a shit about having someone with a different opinion to you. There's a reason why when I go to countries which are not as economically successful as the West, nobody has a problem with me. They're like, yeah, I like what you say. I disagree with some things, but I need to feed my family. So cool. They don't have time to be offended like these people do. These people are absolutely massively coddled. They're spoiled. And they think that by just attacking people like me, that somehow they're going to feel better about themselves. What they don't understand, the great irony of it is the reason, we all know the age-old saying, strong men create good times create weak men. Blah, blah. But it's true. These people out there who are living such a spoiled, coddled existence that they have the time to research everything I've ever said, find the 15 seconds out of the 4 years of podcasts I've done that really, truly offend them, then cut it up, then make a Twitter account dedicated to spreading that as far as possible. The only reason they can live in a society so soft where they even have time to do that garbage is because of men like me. So they're attacking the creators of their own fucking cradle. It's truly crazy because it's men like me of drive and determination and purpose who stood up and didn't accept the slave programming of the time that built countries like America and the UK, that built these countries. So they're attacking me, not understanding they're biting the hand that feeds them. Because when men like me give up on you and we all disappear and you're left with only people like yourselves, you just eat yourselves and fall apart and you get destroyed. So it's kind of like full circle. God has a plan. All the people who hate me are going to end up paying for it because they need me. They need men like me.
There's people out there, we're aligned on a lot of stuff. But there's people out there who I disagree with on a lot of things, but I'm like, but they're honest. Yeah. They're real. Like you won't put a fact in front of their face and they totally deny it. or they'll say something and I ask, okay, well, why do you think that? Like, I might disagree with how they got there but I'm like, okay, cool. Like, I get I see how you've arrived at that conclusion, And to me, the people who are super deceptive and dishonest are those who are trying to shut down all the conversation, shut down the debate, censor this person, deplatform any idea that does not go
you mean
along with...
Oh, you mean the tolerant ones?
The tolerant ones.
The tolerant ones want to shut up anybody who has an ideal they don't agree with. Isn't that fun?
Exactly. I mean, and the way they've done it now with so-called the science, right? Not to go back into it too much, but it's like, if it's science, you can question it, you can challenge it. In the past, scientists would be like, look, this is my hypothesis, this is what I think. Prove me wrong. Show me how I'm wrong. Let's go through this. Now it's like, okay, this is what we think. Like, we need to censor. Oh, there's another doctor on Twitter. Disagree? Get rid of him. Oh, there's a study coming out. Nope, get rid of that study.
And here's where we come full circle. This is why I say we live in a matrix. Because our body heat and our efforts and our ingenuity are being used by the machines. They are making us go to work and be the hardest working, smartest versions of ourselves. They're using our bodies, but they want our minds to live in a false reality. They don't want you to understand the truth about anything. They give you a computer-generated false reality for you to buy into, to occupy your mind long enough, to keep you functional enough to work, but not sentient enough to understand you're being fucked, and to just sit there until you pay taxes until you die. That's all they want. They don't want people to truly understand anything about the world. There's a reason why you go to school and you do not learn about taxes or money or banking or inflation or any of the fucking shit that's going on now. The reason you don't learn the true version of history. It's the reason when you watch the news now, they don't tell you the truth about anything that's happening ever. And the only thing I can say to people is, if you know they've manipulated you in the past, if you're not so ignorant as to believe that you've been told the truth the entire time, if you understand reality and know that they've manipulated you in the past, why do you think they're not doing it right now? Why do you think they won't do it again? It's all a lie. Everything's a lie. Head to toe, it's a lie. It may be a scary idea, but I promise you, the medical system just proved itself to be fucking corrupt. The judicial system proved itself to be corrupt. The fucking financial system proved itself to be corrupt. The legal system proved itself to be corrupt. Every system you use and live under that is designed to protect you is corrupt. Even me before COVID, I don't want to go back into that subject because I can go forever. But even before COVID, I would think, well, the medical system's probably not that corrupt. I mean, I knew it was corrupt because of healthcare and American prices are too high. But I thought, surely, the World Health Organization, they're just a bunch of doctors who want to help people. In my ignorance, how foolish of me to not understand that they are funded, and they're funded by people who are corrupt, and they're funded by Big Pharma, and Big Pharma wants money, and then they realize they don't just want money, they want power, and they want influence, and they want to lobby government, and they want to control things. So it's like every single organization on the face of the planet is corrupt. This is what I say to people. I say, listen, and I'm going to say this on this podcast now because I say it on every other one. I would never, ever kill myself. I truly believe they're going to come and they're going to try and kill me on a long enough time frame because they tried to shut me up and I won't shut up. They're either going to try and put me in jail, or they're going to kill me, and I would never kill myself under any circumstances ever. And the reason I say this, and I say this to people, and they go, but what can they put you in jail for? And I'm like, how ignorant are you in your ignorance to believe they need a reason? You believe it's fair. You believe I can get a lawyer and prove myself innocent. That's not how it works. They decide you're guilty long before and they find a reason why. And it doesn't matter what you do about it, you will pay the fucking price. It's not fair. None of it is. Every single system's corrupt. It actually annoys me when people say that to me. Well, just get a lawyer. Why? They can't put you in jail if you're innocent. Yes, they fucking can. And that's what people don't understand about the world. They can and they do and they fucking will. And that's what's scary.
Yeah, my man. I appreciate you, bro.
Cheers, bro.
Thank you.